I'm here in Florida to watch and participate in the Strength Camp Challenge 2015 in Tampa at the fairgrounds. So I picked this hotel that was the closest to the fairgrounds, and it's pretty ghetto. So we're just going to stay in this little corner right here for this video. In this video, we're going to talk about just some food choices when we're traveling. I'm just going to give you some of my ideas and insight and some of the supplements I take first thing in the morning. So it is morning time. The hotel has free breakfast downstairs, but of course they don't have healthy fitness type food. They just have mass appeal carbohydrates mostly. So I did choose coffee, 2 black coffees. When you take coffee on an empty stomach, it does help you burn body fat. It does give you energy. It does actually have a lot of health benefits. So I do approve of the coffee. When you do take coffee and you're in a calorie surplus, then it doesn't help you burn fat. So coffee burns fat when you are in a caloric deficit and when your blood sugar is low. And it is also a performance enhancer from the caffeine, and it has a lot of antioxidants. I'm going to the gym soon, so it'll give me energy for that. I got 2 apples, which I'm not going to eat yet, but I got them so I can eat them later as a healthy, fairly low calorie treat. It does have fructose in it, so you don't want to eat too much fruit in a given day because your liver can only process so much fructose, but a few apples is no problem. I did get their grits for carbohydrates, and when I get back after going to the gym here, whatever local gym I can find, then I will have my carbohydrate source, and I got some teas for antioxidants that I'm just going to have later. And I got a muffin. This is a treat I may or may not eat after the workout. You wouldn't want to eat, no matter how tempting it is, and just because it's available at the free continental breakfast at every hotel, you don't benefit a lot from eating pastries like this and bread and first thing in the morning. The reason is you wake up in a fat burning zone. You can continue to burn fat until the point where you introduce sugar and therefore spike insulin and therefore stop the fat burning process. So for this morning, I would prefer to stay in a little bit of a fat burning zone to make up for the fact that for this week I have been binging since I competed a week ago and starved myself for 6 weeks before the competition. Now I've binged. Now it's time to get back to normal and lose a little bit of fat, which means I don't want to spike insulin in the morning. I want to stay in the fat burning zone. If you were trying to gain weight and you wanted to make sure that you didn't break down any muscle at the expense of also not burning fat, then you might want to have some carbohydrates in the morning to spike insulin, which protects muscle at the expense of burning fat. But I still wouldn't choose something like this, which has a lot of hidden fats that aren't any benefit to you. And it also digests very quickly. It hits hard. It spikes your insulin, shuttles into your cells, and then it leaves you without blood sugar for a while. I would choose something more like grits or especially oatmeal because it has the fiber. The next thing is something I brought. I brought 3 of these brown rice from Costco as a carbohydrate source. Each one has like 70 grams of carbs in it, and it doesn't take up much space in my bag, and you can put it in the microwave, or you don't even have to microwave it. That would be for after a workout. If I'm going low carbohydrates, then I'm only going to have carbohydrates either before or after the workout. I brought nuts in multiple bags. I eat these on the plane, and nuts are good because if you're going low carbohydrate, they're high in fat and they're filling and they have a lot of nutrients. And I chose the nuts with the sodium, the salt added to them, because when you go low carbohydrate, your muscles kind of deflate. The carbohydrates are what keep the muscles full and hydrated. They take up a lot of room in the muscles. So I prefer to increase my sodium intake when my carbohydrates are low, because that will also help keep the muscles full and hydrated. Sodium goes into the muscle and it brings water in with it, just like carbohydrates go into the muscle and bring water in with it. Some of the supplements that I would take in the morning is I put fiber psyllium husk into a smaller bottle because it comes in bigger bottles, but it's a powder. And I would take a teaspoon to a tablespoon of this in the morning. It makes you feel full. Uh, my speculation is that it makes the body think that you're giving it more calories than you are, so it helps keep metabolism up. But that's called the stomach stretch theory, and I do believe in that, but it's not scientifically proven. And fiber is very important when you're on vacation because you'll notice when you eat out, there is very little fiber. There's definitely not enough fiber that you're ever going to get on vacation, period. And fiber is very important for your whole digestive system. It helps clear the toxins from your body so they don't just sit in your intestines for too long, give you colon cancer, especially if you eat a lot of meat on vacation. And it helps pull the low density cholesterol from your bloodstream to prevent clogging your arteries. Two supplements that I bring on vacation also is Code Red. That's the fat burner. Code Red is best taken on an empty stomach, and it goes really well with caffeine. So this morning, I'm not going to eat any carbohydrates before the gym. I want to stay in the fat burning zone. I want to burn as much fat as possible because in a short period of time, because I don't like being in the fat burning zone all the time. I like to also eat. So I'm going to take advantage of this morning by taking 3 Code Red pills to help burn some of the stubborn body fat off of my stomach because I don't care about burning the fat off of my thighs or anywhere else. I have very little fat anywhere else. It's really the stomach fat for me and the lower back fat that comes quickly that I need to get rid of, that's more stubborn, that it does take something like this to get rid of it. Caffeine doesn't necessarily help with the stomach fat. It's caffeine plus Code Red, which includes yohimbine and other ingredients that will actually help attack the stomach fat specifically. Ostemuscle is the other supplement that I'm taking this morning. I'm taking 2 capsules. Ostemuscle is something where a female usually takes 1 capsule, a man takes 2 or more capsules. After the competition, after putting my body through a beating, I'm trying to recover my body, but I'm trying to maintain my muscle. So I've chosen to go with 2 capsules early in the morning. That way, there is no risk of suppressing my natural testosterone later at night. Natural testosterone is made somewhere around 1 in the morning. So that's why it's important to get good quality sleep and get to bed early for when you're recovering your natural testosterone. And 2 capsules from my bro science experience is the right dosage for recovering your testosterone after putting your body through a beating in a competition. If it wasn't after the competition, maybe I would take 3 capsules or more. If I was trying to put on a lot of weight, maybe I would take even up to 4 capsules if I was eating a huge amount of calories. And maybe I would drop down to 1 capsule if I was just trying to resensitize myself to it. Because just like any other supplement out there, your body desensitizes to it. If you take Code Red actually is a little bit different. Code Red is in and out of your body very quickly. So you could actually take it every single morning and never desensitize to it. If you took it 5 times a day, every single day, then eventually you would desensitize to it. Osteomuscle it's a muscle building supplement. This one is something that you will probably desensitize to it if you're taking 2 capsules a day, probably somewhere around 5 weeks, in which case you'd want to give yourself about a 1 to 2 week break just to resensitize. Or you could take 3 capsules a day, drop down to 1 capsule to resensitize, go back up to 3 capsules and experiment with it and make sure you don't have any side effects from taking such a high dosage. So those are the tips for today. I'm looking forward to getting to the front desk and seeing if I can check out early and find a little bit nicer hotel. And maybe the nicer hotel will have a continental breakfast with things like eggs and steak and protein instead of just a bunch of muffins. And again, don't waste your calories on muffins. One more funny comment I heard the other day. I was at one of those things where you're walking on the street and there's a bunch of booths giving you food to taste, and there was really decadent dessert, and the owner said that his calories are worth it. So he's saying, yes, I acknowledge that this decadent dessert has a lot of calories. I acknowledge that you look like you're the type of person that's going to be watching calories, but these desserts are so good that you can have some of it and it's going to be worth it because the pleasure you're going to get from these calories is greater than the damage you're going to do to your body by having these extra calories. So that was a really interesting concept to me because any anytime you're going to have a food that you probably shouldn't have, you should be really grateful of the pleasure you're going to get from that food. Don't just be a robot and go eat a hot dog because that's all they have at the hot dog stand, and then you're not grateful for that flavor and that taste and that being full. So really be grateful. It is hard for most people to be very grateful for good tasting food like that until they've suffered through a diet. So I recommend everybody try to do something, not necessarily a bodybuilding competition, but where you force yourself to stay on a very strict diet. And then when you go off the diet, hopefully you don't binge. Hopefully instead you have a greater appreciation for when you do choose to eat foods that aren't quite as healthy and that are going to make you fat. At least you have more happiness and more gratefulness for when you do choose that. Thank you.